I sat across from Elizabeth Grant and Monica from HR in the small conference room tucked into the corner of GlassTech's building where I had worked for the past 12 years. The stark white light from the overhead fixtures cast a cold, almost sterile ambiance. Elizabeth, the head of HR, began the conversation with a formal tone, every word carefully chosen, though a faint trace of satisfaction lingered in her icy blue eyes. "The company is restructuring, Sarah," she said, her slender hands resting neatly on the light wood table. "We are merging the research department into the product development team. Unfortunately, your current position will no longer be needed." Monica, seated beside Elizabeth, quietly slid a cream-colored folder toward me. "This is your severance package. We truly appreciate your contributions over the years." I accepted the folder without opening it, giving a slight nod. I already knew what was inside: the standard offer, 1 week's pay for each year of service, health coverage for 3 months, and a list of career counseling services I would never use. "I completely understand," I replied, my voice steady and even. Both Elizabeth and Monica exhaled softly, relief washing over their expressions. Perhaps they had braced themselves for tears or even anger from a 50-year-old woman being pushed out of the tech industry, where youth was often valued above experience. What they didn't know was that I had been expecting this moment for weeks. Ever since a misdirected internal email thread landed in my inbox. "We'll need you to complete the transition of your responsibilities by Friday," Elizabeth continued, her confidence growing in the absence of my resistance. "Please return your keycard, company laptop, and phone before you leave. Your team will be notified this afternoon." My team, 5 bright young engineers whom I had personally recruited and mentored. They were the same team that had helped me develop the data processing algorithm that doubled the industry standard speed, forming the foundation of GlassTech's flagship product, Dataflow, an analytic software used by over a third of America's top corporations. "Of course, I'll make sure everything is wrapped up properly," I said, rising gently from my chair. "Is there anything else?" They exchanged quick, puzzled glances, seemingly taken aback by my composure. Monica shook her head. "No, that's all. Thank you for being so professional." I left the conference room, walking through the glass-lined hallway that offered a clear view into the executive boardroom on the opposite side. Through the transparent barrier, I could see CEO Jonathan Parker presenting enthusiastically before a large screen, the title of his presentation displayed prominently: Q3 Revenue Projections. Jonathan. The same man who, at last year's industry conference, had taken full credit for my algorithm, referring to me only as one of the research team members. Back in my office, I closed the door, took out my personal phone, and sent a brief message. "It's time. I'm leaving on Friday." The response came immediately. "Perfect. The contract is ready. Let's meet tonight to finalize the details." I smiled, glancing at the desk calendar in the corner. It was only Wednesday. In just 3 days I would leave GlassTech forever, and on Monday I would embark on a completely new journey where the real story was only beginning. I took a final sip of coffee from the white ceramic mug with the words, "Dataflow Team, we make it flow," printed on it. A Christmas gift from my own team. Now more than ever, I knew I was ready for what lay ahead. That evening I met Ryan Mitchell, CEO of InnovateX, at a restaurant tucked away in an upscale neighborhood. The place was known for its privacy, with tables separated by soft flowing silk curtains, offering a perfect sense of seclusion. Ryan had chosen a hidden corner where no one, not even the staff, could see us. In his early 40s, Ryan exuded the confident and polished demeanor of a successful businessman. His sharp gaze and knowing smile hinted at his experience, but during this meeting, I could sense the caution in his every move. We shook hands, and as soon as we sat down, Ryan got straight to the point. "So, they actually did it," he said, a mix of skepticism and satisfaction in his eyes. "I thought they might delay a bit longer, but clearly Jonathan Parker couldn't wait." I nodded, taking a slow sip of water. He thought I'd be passive and accept my fate. But they had no idea I'd been preparing for this day for a long time. Ryan smiled slightly, a look of genuine appreciation crossing his face. "You were right to reach out to me earlier. Our legal team has thoroughly reviewed all the documents. Your patent is rock solid with no legal loopholes for them to challenge." He slid a thick stack of documents across the table. "Here's the contract. Once you sign, InnovateX will officially secure exclusive rights to your algorithm. We'll announce it next Monday morning and introduce you as our new Chief Innovation Officer." I opened the folder, skimming through the terms I already knew by heart. The 7-figure signing bonus made me smile briefly, but what truly satisfied me was the profit share from every product using my algorithm. Ryan not only saw the technological value but also valued me as a person, something GlassTech had never done. "What's your communication plan?" I asked, closing the folder and looking up at Ryan. "We'll release the announcement through all major media channels highlighting InnovateX's acquisition of this groundbreaking technology. At the same time, we'll publicly acknowledge your role as the inventor. This isn't just a technological leap but also a story of proper recognition and transparency." I picked up the pen, aligning it with the signature line on the contract. "How do you think they'll react?" Ryan shrugged. "I doubt Jonathan will take it lying down. But don't worry, our legal team is prepared. We'll not only protect you but also turn GlassTech's confusion into a PR advantage for InnovateX." As I signed the final line, I closed the contract and handed it back to Ryan. He accepted it with a bright smile, then raised his glass for a toast. To new beginnings and well-deserved recognition. "And to things they never saw coming," I added, the clear clink of glass on glass ringing like a melody signaling change. The remaining 2 days at GlassTech passed faster than I expected. I spent the time meticulously completing all transition documents, carefully noting every detail of the projects I had been involved in. Every password, every process guide was organized neatly in the internal system, ready for my successor. I left no gaps, no reason for them to accuse me of negligence. Elizabeth stopped by my office on Friday afternoon as I was packing my personal mementos into a small cardboard box. She leaned against the doorframe, trying to project a friendly demeanor. "Sarah, is everything all right?" "I've wrapped everything up, there's nothing left to worry about," I responded without looking up. Elizabeth forced a smile, a practiced but hollow gesture. "Thank you for maintaining your professionalism. I know this isn't easy." "It isn't," I replied, my eyes still on the only family photo I had left on my desk. "But sometimes, what seems like the end is just the beginning of a new door opening." "So, do you have any plans yet?" she asked, a spark of curiosity slipping through her otherwise composed expression. "Oh yes, I do," I emphasized each word, a faint smile crossing my lips. "I start on Monday." Elizabeth's eyebrows shot up, but she didn't press further. She simply nodded and walked away, leaving me alone in the empty office. I looked around one last time, feeling a mix of nostalgia and liberation. As I stepped out of the glass-walled building, I felt as if I was shedding an old, worn-out skin, ready to embrace a new light. That evening I sat by the window of my small apartment, gazing out at the city lights sparkling against the dark sky. What I felt inside wasn't triumph or revenge. It was peace. I knew I was on the right path, and next Monday my story would start anew, written from the very first page, with bold and hopeful lines. I told myself this was just the beginning. There were so many exciting things ahead, and I would never let anyone or anything hold me back again. On Monday morning, I sat in my new office at InnovateX, surrounded by expansive glass windows overlooking the city skyline. Sunlight streamed in, casting shimmering patterns on my desk. The computer screen in front of me displayed a notification. The official press release was published at 7 a.m. I clicked on the link, opened the news page, and saw my name prominently featured in the headline. InnovateX hires Sarah Collins as Chief Innovation Officer, a strategic move with a breakthrough algorithm. The article summarized my career journey, highlighting my role in developing the data processing algorithm that boosted efficiency by 47%. It also introduced InnovateX's new initiative to integrate this technology into upcoming products. There was no mention of GlassTech, but anyone in the industry could read between the lines. Not even 30 minutes had passed before my phone started buzzing non-stop. Messages from former colleagues at GlassTech flooded in, each line adding another piece to the chaotic puzzle unfolding there. "Sarah, what is happening? The whole office is in an uproar. They just called all the managers into the conference room. No one is telling us anything. Jonathan Parker looks pale. He and Marjorie are arguing right in the hallway." I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I saved the messages in a separate folder. Every piece of information, no matter how small, could be useful if things took a legal turn. At exactly 9 a.m., another message popped up, this time from Laura, the head of product development at GlassTech. "They're reviewing all the documents about the algorithm. It looks like they just realized they don't have any rights to it." Sarah, what did you do? I replied simply, check your personal email, you all have new offers from InnovateX. I could imagine the mix of confusion and hope in Laura's eyes and in the rest of her team. They were talented professionals who had supported me greatly in previous projects. I had promised Ryan that if InnovateX wanted to fully leverage the algorithm's potential, they needed the team that understood it best. At GlassTech, chaos quickly turned into a crisis. The company's stock plummeted as soon as the news about the patent rights broke on financial news outlets. Their flagship software, Dataflow, which relied entirely on my algorithm, now faced the risk of being shut down if a legitimate licensing agreement wasn't reached. Jonathan Parker, who once stood on stage taking credit for my work, was now facing tough questions from the board of directors. An anonymous employee at GlassTech leaked to the press. This failure to protect intellectual property could cost the company millions of dollars in lost revenue every month. I received a recording of the emergency meeting from a former colleague. Jonathan's voice was filled with anxiety as he tried to explain to the board members that this was merely a small misunderstanding. But when Marjorie spoke, all confidence had drained from her tone. We skipped the patent filing process. Sarah Collins registered the intellectual property under her own name, and now InnovateX holds exclusive rights. If we don't reach an agreement, we'll have to rebuild the entire platform from scratch. The conference room fell silent for a few seconds, then murmurs filled the air. A financial director finally broke the tension, asking, "How long will this take, and how much will it cost?" Marjorie hesitated. "No less than 18 months. And the estimated cost is around $50 million, not including the revenue loss during that time." Immediately the meeting descended into chaos. The board demanded an urgent session with the legal team and corporate attorneys that very afternoon. Later that day, news of Jonathan Parker and Marjorie's termination spread across nearly every media outlet. Neither of them made any public comments, but the images of them leaving the building with cardboard boxes of their personal belongings said it all. Around 5 p.m. I received a call from an unknown number. A polished voice came through on the other end. "Hello, Miss Sarah Collins, this is Richard Donovan, the interim CEO of GlassTech. I'd like to discuss the possibility of reaching a legitimate licensing agreement for your algorithm. We're open to negotiating fair terms and publicly acknowledging your contributions." I kept my tone calm and professional. "Thank you, Mr. Donovan, but all negotiations will need to go through InnovateX's legal team. I'm confident they will reach out to you soon." Donovan paused, then sighed. "I understand. Regardless, thank you for your time. I hope we can find a solution that works for both parties." As the call ended, I looked out the window. The city lights continued to shine, and the skyscrapers stood as monuments to relentless effort and ambition. A new chapter in my life had truly begun, and I knew I would never look back. I opened my laptop and began drafting an email to Ryan and the legal team. This game was far from over, but I was ready for every move ahead. 3 months after joining InnovateX, I sat in the large conference room at our new headquarters, surrounded by familiar faces. Laura, Jason, Michael, and the entire team of former engineers from GlassTech had accepted my invitation to join InnovateX in well-deserved roles. Each of them brought passion and dedication, but above all, loyalty and belief in what we were building together. On the large screen at the front, sales charts and market value graphs displayed strong upward curves. InnovateX had surpassed GlassTech in the rankings of top technology companies. This achievement was not only due to implementing my new algorithm into products, but also because we had created a workplace where everyone felt valued and recognized. Ryan Mitchell, the CEO of InnovateX, concluded his presentation with a satisfied smile. "Thank you to Sarah and her team. This success is a result of the creativity and relentless effort of everyone here." The room erupted in applause, but I knew that this acknowledgement wasn't just empty words. Everyone in the room understood that at InnovateX their contributions truly mattered. This was a stark contrast to my years at GlassTech, where my ideas were often dismissed, or worse, taken credit for by others. As the meeting wrapped up and people began to leave, Ryan held me back. "Sarah, I have some exciting news to share. We've just received an invitation from the International Technology Conference. They want you as the keynote speaker." I was taken aback. "Me? But there are so many other people." "No, Sarah, you are the person they want to hear from. Your story about protecting intellectual property and fostering true innovation has inspired so many in the industry. You deserve this." I felt my heartbeat quicken, not with anxiety but with genuine joy. I had gone from being pushed out of my old company to a place where I was not only heard but respected. This was my chance to share my story, not to criticize anyone, but to emphasize the importance of giving proper credit to creators. That evening I sat by the window of my apartment watching the city lights shimmer. My phone buzzed with a message from Laura. The whole team just saw the announcement. "We're so proud of you. The International Technology Conference will be the perfect stage for your story." I texted back, "Thank you. We've all come such a long way, and this is because of all of you too." The next morning, I began preparing for my speech. I wanted it to be about more than just the algorithm or growth figures. I wanted to share the journey of a 50-year-old woman in the tech industry, about the challenges and the quiet victories along the way. On the day of the conference, I stepped onto the large stage, the spotlight casting a hazy glow over the audience. But as I looked down, I saw attentive faces, young professionals filled with enthusiasm, and seasoned experts with knowing eyes. My name is Sarah Collins, and today I want to share a journey with you not just about technology, but about recognition, I began, my voice clear and steady. I spoke about creating the algorithm, how it boosted data processing efficiency and the positive impact it had on InnovateX's products. But I didn't shy away from discussing the challenges I faced, the feeling of being overlooked, and how I stood up to reclaim my value. When someone doesn't see your worth, remember that it doesn't diminish your value. You can stand up, find a new path, and make a difference. I concluded my speech and the room erupted into applause. After the presentation, many attendees approached me, sharing their own stories. A young woman, about 25 years old, held my hand and said, "Your story helped me realize that I deserve recognition too. I won't let anyone take credit for my ideas again." Her words made me realize my journey had a deeper meaning. I hadn't just created an algorithm. I had helped shift the perspective on protecting intellectual property and honoring those who bring true innovation. A week later, InnovateX received an email from Richard Donovan, the interim CEO of GlassTech. He acknowledged the mistakes of the previous management and proposed a legitimate licensing agreement for my algorithm. The terms included recognizing me as the inventor and offering a fair royalty fee. Ryan invited me into the conference room to discuss it. "Sarah, what do you think? This is an opportunity to achieve both commercial gain and market stability." I nodded. "We can negotiate, but we won't compromise on principles. I want them to acknowledge my role publicly, not just on paper but in their public communications as well." "Absolutely, we'll make sure of that." Ryan smiled, his eyes filled with pride. The final outcome was everything we hoped for. GlassTech agreed to all the terms, a press release was issued, publicly acknowledging my contributions to the Dataflow product for the first time. My journey became a textbook example of protecting intellectual property rights in the tech industry. Looking back, I knew I had gained more than recognition. I had found my voice. And helped others find theirs too. It was never about revenge, it was about reclaiming what was rightfully mine. Sarah's story is not only an inspiring personal journey but also a profound lesson in today's business world. It reminds us that the true value of innovation lies in the people who create it, not just in profits or temporary fame. Recognizing and respecting intellectual contributions not only fosters a positive workplace but also leads to sustainable success for businesses. For each individual, knowing your worth is the key to unlocking new doors in life. What do you think about Sarah's story and her journey to reclaim her value? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit follow to make sure you don't miss more inspiring stories about life and family in our upcoming videos.